Hello, my name is Mary Elitch Long, and I'm the creator of a very famous amusement park. The name of the park is Elitch's Zoological Gardens, or as you may know it, Elitch's. Elitch's is a fun place where you can ride amazing rides and relax in the water park, although it wasn't always this way. It used to be owned to me where I would have talented animals and beautiful plants for you to see. It all changed when I lost ownership in a financial crisis. To understand all this, you need to know the history of this wondrous place. I was just 16 when I met my husband, John Elitch. We loved each other and decided to get eloped. I told John of my dreams to make people laugh and smile. He helped me with that dream, and with help from my other friends, it was made. On May 1st, 1890, Elitch's Zoological Gardens was opened. 1 year later, sadly, my dear husband died and I was left on my own. I built a house smack dab on top of the property of my gardens. People visited and business was booming. The new attractions were the Trocadero Ballroom and the miniature railroad and the theater. Then something bad happened. The KKK had come into the state and I was losing business. Also, competition was arising and I had to be a strong business owner and make matters better. At last, although, the bills got too hard to pay and I was starting to lose the battle. I then lost ownership to a small businessman who, too, couldn't handle the park and sold it to John Mulvihill. John Mulvihill made a lot of changes in the park, like putting in the famous Twister. After his short reign of ownership, he then sold it to Edward Robinson. After 1 year, the park was then sold to Frederick March, who owned it from 1926 to 1928. The park stayed the same with very few changes until the Gutler family owned it, and that's when the many changes started happening in the park. Arnold Gutler was the first to own the park in the family. He was John Mulvihill's son-in-law. Arnold Gutler then gave the ownership in 1945 to his two sons, Jack and Bud Gutler. In 1952, they came up with the idea for Kiddyland, which was kids-oriented rides. They did this because in that time, the amusement parks were almost exclusively to adults. At that time, a lot of things started to become more and more modernized. So, once the Trocadero Ballroom started losing interest, they tore it down in 1975. Then something crazy happened to my park. The Gutler family saw that it was losing a lot of business with the location it was at. So, on October 1st, 1994, they decided to close the gates on Elitch's and relocate it for modernization. While they were rebuilding the park in downtown Denver, Sandy Gutler took the ownership of Elitch's. Sandy decided to sell the park to a very well-known franchise known as Six Flags. On May 27, 1995, they reopened the parks in downtown Denver. Six Flags owned the park as Six Flags Elitch Gardens until 2006. C&L Lifestyle Properties purchased the park in 2007. C&L gave it back to park management, who then relabeled it as Elitch Gardens once again. As of today, Hershon Family Entertainment now owns my park. As you can see, if I didn't lose ownership when I did, then my park may have not been the way it is today. And it's important to know the history of a place like this so we can advance places like this. My favorite part about all of this is that my dream has came true and I have been making people smile for more than 100 years. Thank you for listening to my story, where to not see Elitch's is to not see Denver.